mind. Can you go past cover this one, please? And I see a similar economy of movement from Gill. 4 fours and a 6 so far. It's a good start so far. 4 gone, 31 for Nola.
থেকে এগিয়ে আসছেন বোলার ক্রিজে প্রস্তুত ব্যাটসম্যান উড়িয়ে মেরেছেন
ঘরে কিংবা বাইরে খেলা দেখুন মাইজিপি অ্যাপে। Introducing ঝাঁঝালো ঝালের জ্বালাময়ী অথেন্টিক স্বাদে ডুডলস কোরিয়ান রামেন কঠিন ঝাল স্পিড।
Shubman Gill of 1,074 runs at 71.6 this year. Sri Lanka's Pratham Nisanka has had a good year too. Babar Azam always has a good year. And then the Zimbabwean Sean Williamson, Daryl Mitchell is always there for New Zealand.
What I found interesting from last over from Marcus Stoinis is that he did the right thing there and tried to get the ball nice and tight into Gill's hip. That one there, he's in a couple of boundaries, square the wicket, then all of a sudden into his hip, done the right thing and dispatch over square leg for 6.
I understand the last two have still gone to the fielder, but it's just that crispness of hitting. Every time he hits the ball, it seems as if he's hitting the middle of the bat. It could go to the fielder, but he's still hitting the middle of the bat. And that tells you that he's getting into great positions, he's in good form, and he's watching it very, very closely.
Versus pace averages 59. Another of a breed of young players who are a little more comfortable with pace than against the turning ball. I think that bat has been tuned so well. It's almost like a musician playing, saying, I've tuned it well. These bats only have middles, don't they?
Well, Gills does at the moment. I'm interested to see how far Cameron Green's away. He's a point of difference in his bowling attack tonight with his height. And that maybe with the new ball, you might get a little bit off the seam. He hits the wicket a lot harder. We've seen at times a little bit of inconsistent bounce.
He's also probably quicker than either Abbott or Stoinis.
It'll also be interesting to see how quickly they bring Zampa on. Zampa has had some success against Indian batters. You look at all the matchups which Zampa has had with different batters, he's managed to get them a couple of times or if not more. So it'll be interesting to see how quickly or when the skipper decides to bring him on.
It's a fair point to make. I was going to ask Brad about that when he talked about all the key players. Maybe in the next over, maybe just Zampa needs a dose of confidence. They went after him a little bit in South Africa. It's never going to be easy coming back from none for 113. It's just that he's been so successful before that you back him to bounce back, but none for 113 should hurt. Good over so far, only 2 of it. It's a good over from Pat Cummins. 33 for no loss.
Let's run it, smart. Pump it up. Let's run it, smart. Turn your tongue. Let's run it, smart. Guess it's right. We are gonna win tonight. Let's run it, smart. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Let's run it, smart. Whoa, whoa, whoa. We are gonna win tonight.
Introducing ঝাঁঝালো ঝালের জ্বালাময়ী অথেন্টিক স্বাদে ডুডলস কোরিয়ান রামেন কঠিন ঝাল স্পিড।
So Brad, hadn't the expected bowling changes come about, but not what you thought?
Yeah, Sean Abbott's been brought into this team for something different. He's a wicket-taking bowler. Yes, he can bowl well at the new ball, but one of his biggest roles, I think, during this World Cup, if he gets the opportunity, is to bowl the tough overs, is to bowl at the death, use his change-ups. He's grown over the last few years in that role with New South Wales and the Sydney Sixers. So expect to see a lot of change-ups here from Sean Abbott.
It's a great shot of the moon. We feel a little oneness with the moon these days, Brad. Now that we've got our Vikram on it. Where's the lander? Where's the rover? One of the great moments in our science. India's space mission is a fantastic story in itself. It's on the dark side of the moon.
See the buggy?
Oh, on the pads! I thought it might be closer than the bowler suggested. Probably just the angle taking it down the leg side. Yeah, probably did a little too much.
Prithviraj Gaikwad himself has hit a few good shots, but it's just gone straight to the fielder. 10 of 16, Gill 23 of 16, and sometimes there's a batter at the other end. You can get sucked into the way your teammate is going, because you yourself are a good timer. You sometimes want to get on with the act too. So hopefully someone like him takes his time. Yes, he's batting well, 10 of 16. And just a couple of deliveries and you can be up and running too.
It's interesting to Gill, though, that they're bowling with a 6-3 field. We've seen all the success today with the quick bowlers bowling at the stumps. I wouldn't mind seeing that slip come across into a square leg, tighten your mid-wicket up and go at the stumps. We've seen a little bit of inconsistent bounce as the innings gone on.
Gaikwad saying, put a camera on me too. I think Karthik was making the point, he's a very pretty stroke player too, and at the moment there's a lot of gaps in the field. So it seems from these two, it's a rollicking partnership, this 39 for no loss.
Have a look at this ball from Sean Abbott. Just over pitch, but to me it's too much width. He needs to get tighter to the stumps, hit that length that's going to hit the top of the stumps, and that'll different for different bowlers. Sean Abbott's a bit shorter. Hit that back of the length and make the batsman make a decision off the stump.
He's got some support in the D, they should be looking for two and getting those quite easily.
It's a fair point which you made, Brad, off air. All the bowlers who have bowled at the stumps have been better off. And there are times on certain wickets where you want the batter to hit the square fielders, but not on this one. It's better off being tight at the stumps and you minimize damage, and in fact, you can be successful. Every time any bowler has bowled slightly wider, they've been taken for runs.
Eight of the over, 6 gone, 41 for no loss.
দেশ ও মানুষের কল্যাণে সুচিকিৎসার বার্তা নিয়ে আফরোজা বেগম জেনারেল হাসপাতাল, চিকিৎসা সেবায় বাংলাদেশের নতুন ইতিহাস। আন্তর্জাতিক সকল সুযোগ সুবিধা সম্বলিত উন্নত ডায়ালাইসিস, অপারেশন থিয়েটার, বিশ্বমানের আইসিইউ, আধুনিক পরীক্ষণ যন্ত্র, দেশসেরা চিকিৎসক আর একঝাঁক নিবেদিত ও দক্ষ কর্মীর নিরলস প্রচেষ্টায় আফরোজা বেগম জেনারেল হাসপাতাল, মানিকগঞ্জ। সাধ্যের মধ্যে সুচিকিৎসা। বসুন্ধরা ফাউন্ডেশনের একটি অলাভজনক প্রতিষ্ঠান। বসুন্ধরা গ্রুপ, দেশ ও মানুষের কল্যাণে।
Speed.
Backward 16, Gill 24. Already 6 boundaries in this innings. enjoy this. They said economy of movement. On this occasion, coming all the way down, but most times happy to play from where he is. Lovely to watch at the non-strikers end at the moment. He's coming in bowl after what, 2 months. Not looking rusty. He's got good rhythm.
And his pace is up too, Paddy. He's bowling around 145. Just having a look at the field here. You've got a slip and a short third man. I'd been told to bring the slip across to a square leg, tighten your mid-wicket and cover up and push mid on and mid off on the circle and bowl at the stumps. And then if they want to take a risk to hit over the top down the ground, you get a little bit of inconsistency. We've seen David Warner get dropped to mid on early in his innings.
Actually, been talking about the inconsistency or possibly the fact that the ball's kept a bit low compared to what you normally expect at Mohali, and this one actually skidded through too.
We've been talking in India about whether it's possible, whether you can find some way of playing Shami Siraj and Bumrah together. What if Australia can find some way of playing Cummins, Stark and Hazelwood together? Because the difference is Cummins is perfectly capable of batting at 8. So you play Cummins, Stark, Hazelwood together along with Zampa. And then you've got 8, 9, 10, 11, 4 quality bowlers. And then maybe a combination of Stoinis and Agar. And then you play a batsman short care. He's perfectly capable of batting at 6, Agar 7, Cummins 8.
Yeah, half the time you don't want to weaken your bowling, do you? You want to pick your best bowlers, and someone like Stark and Pat Cummins both can use the long handle to good effect. Josh Hazelwood might not be able to play shots, but he's still no mug with the bat. And same for India too. Sometimes you don't want to weaken your bowling to strengthen your batting. You would expect your strong batters to deliver just like you would expect your bowlers to deliver.
Yeah, all you want in your bowling lineup is options, and I think when Hardik Pandya comes back into the team, I think he's the most important player for India because he gives you options.
Seven gone, 43 for Nola.
যে সাথে চলে এত কিছু অবিরাম ঘটে ঘটনা মজবুত না হলে এত স্মৃতি জমে না দেশের প্রতিটি ছাদের গল্পে জড়িয়ে আছি আমরা নির্মাণের অলরাউন্ডার
বোলিং এন্ড থেকে এগিয়ে আসছেন বোলার ক্রিজে প্রস্তুত ব্যাটসম্যান উড়িয়ে মেরেছেন
ঘরে কিংবা বাইরে খেলা দেখুন মাইজিক ব্যাপে স্পিড
Cummins 4 overs for 17, but at the other end 3 overs have gone for 25. Stoinis and Abbott. Oh, it's a good ball. Not enough carry to get to the keeper. He's bowling about 126, 130. Average speed is about 130.
Yeah, he's dropped in pace as he's got older, Sean Abbott. He used to be a little quicker and he used to bowl with a higher action. He's tended to get a little bit more round arm as he's got older and got into his career, and he's used to change of pace more often. He's always had a good bouncer and he's got a good slower ball as well, but not quite as quick as he used to be.
So that ball, that beat Ruturaj Gaikwad, did something different with it. Wasn't the pure seam up delivery, just trying to take pace off bowl, a kind of a leg cutter. Shami was getting movement with the seam up. The ball was moving laterally, which isn't happening as much. So the bowler now digging deep to find some kind of variation to deceive the batter.
Something I want you to take a look at as well, Mark. Brad hadn't mentioned that Shubman Gill reminded him a bit of VVS Lakshman. You were also a player who was very aesthetically, very pleasing to the eye. Shubman is from that category. In your eyes, what's making him special? I mean, there's the timing on those two shots for a start.
Well, he's just got time to play shots. And what he does do, he hits good balls for four. A bit like Travis Head, actually. Different styles of players. But when you've got players hitting good balls for four, they're very difficult to bowl to. Now, some of those boundaries where another player would probably just block them as a defensive shot. So he's got the ability to always put pressure on the bowler. Oh, dropped by Inglis. It was a tough one to his right. It did carry. He'll be disappointed it didn't stick in.
Well, this is good bowling. Yeah, about 129 kilometers per hour. What was Gaikwad trying to do here? Again, you see that breaking the seam there. Is that a genuine outside edge? It would have been a very good catch had he taken it.
Yeah, I think he should have went two hands. It wasn't as far away from him as he thought.
Interesting too, while Brad Haddon was here, he was talking about taking the slip out and getting a man out to square leg. It's not quite square leg, it's mid-wicket, but they've done exactly that.
Yeah, maybe the slowness of the pitch. Just a little leg cutter, and Gaikwad was just looking to hit it down the third man. And he probably should have went two hands. He's got to be taking that. He'd be disappointed, Inglis. Very disappointed.
Maiden over from Sean Abbott. 8 gone, 43 for no loss.
বেলামে ভালো মনের একটি দলে ওড়ে চলে বেলামে সেরা মানে উপাদানে বেলামে বেলামে বেলামে
মন ভরা স্বাদে গড়া বেলামে।
New Zealand Dairy, excellence in quality.
স্পিড
পিরিয়ড যেন কোনো বাধা না হয়। ফ্রিডম স্যানিটারি ন্যাপকিন। ফ্রিডম মানে স্বাধীনতা।
He keeps very still. You know, there's not a lot of moving parts to his game. You know, you see some batsmen with exaggerated back lifts or foot movements. He just keeps it simple, so he's got great balance when he makes contact with the ball, and he can play all the shots. He can play front, back foot, both sides of the wicket. So there's not a lot that can go wrong. If anything, his lack of footwork could hurt him in conditions where the ball's, you know, nipping and bouncing.
And I think this is a good move for Australia, the bowler and the field as well.
Will be the infield. Doesn't have enough to go. It's Cattlemau gets there. Fielder just about got there. I reckon he had to run about 20-25 meters. They ended up running 4.
Now, when is the last time that's happened on an Indian ground? Batters running 4.
No, not too often. Well, this is the biggest boundary, biggest ground in India.
My guess is 1923.
1923. Well, there's no need to look at it, because it's either 4 or it's 4. One of the two.
I mean, even if he has touched, don't tell the batter that, because he just spent a lot of time running up and down.
I want to see him signal 4.
It's better thought for Adam Zampa. He must run 25-30 meters. This down the leg side will be wide. Right, Mark. Here's the answer from Mohandas Menon. If it touches the boundary rope, it gets counted as a boundary. He said, how many fours did he hit? He hit 8 fours. But an all-run 4 apparently doesn't count.
Doesn't make any sense.
I know,
So
but that's the way it is.
where it could make sense was the last World Cup in England.
Exactly. If we no longer have boundary countbacks.
4 is 4, isn't it?
A boundary, Sanjay Mohan just informs me, is when it crosses the boundary, it's counted as a boundary hit. This one didn't cross the boundary, so it's 4 runs, but not counted as a boundary.
I guess
God,
I'll stick,
come on.
I'll stick to what I know. And what I know is that this is a good move. And, with Shubman Gill on strike, the only way you can keep this guy quiet or, minimize his threat is get him out. And I like the fact that they've got a slip for Cameron Green. And he's a bowler on this pitch. Maybe a small chance that he'll trouble Shubman Gill.
He could, because he will get that extra pace and bounce that other bowlers won't get, because he's 6'8". He's got such a strong action. When he's flowing and bowling well and confident, he can be as quick as anybody on his day. So he's the one bowler who could get a little bit of up and down bounce out of this pitch.
You mentioned VVS Lakshman and Shubman Gill, similar kind of players.
What about this man, Ruturaj Gaikwad? Just like that, 50 comes up. 53 for no loss, 7 boundary hits so far. That is a boundary.
And the best shot that he's played so far, Ruturaj Gaikwad. And then this shot will just set him free. He seemed a little not as free-flowing as Shubman Gill, who's obviously in great form. That shot should do his confidence a world of good. Now you'll see the sparkling stroke play of Ruturaj Gaikwad.
It's a bit unfair to compare batsmen to Shubman Gill. Whoever's at the other end is...
Exactly. True.
Most of them aren't going to look as good as Shubman Gill, are they?
So quickly, that point that I was trying to make is Mark Ball. You're very similar to Shubman Gill, because Harsha talked about VVS Lakshman. You guys like to stand besides the line of the ball, which meant the ball doesn't need to be too wide outside the off stump for you guys to punch it through point.
Well, that's what I was saying about Shubman Gill. He hits good balls for 4, and that's one of the reasons that it doesn't have to be too wide.
And that'll be ball runs, but there's a fielder there. So they'll keep it down to 2. And it's very, very well run by Ruturaj Gaikwad. 12 came off the over. It's 55 for no loss.
মনে আছে ছোটবেলায় বাড়ি করে সবাই একসঙ্গে থাকার স্বপ্ন দেখতাম।
স্বপ্ন
একসাথে জমি কিনে বাড়ি করার ঝামেলা জানিস? কে বলেছে? সম্পূর্ণ রেডি প্লট, চাইলে এখনই সবাই কিনতে পারি। কি বললি? চল চল তোদের দেখে নিয়ে আসি।
বিশ্বমানের নাগরিক সুবিধা সম্পন্ন বসুন্ধরা রেসিডেন্সিয়াল এরিয়ায় এখন আপনি চাইলেই পাচ্ছেন যৌথভাবে প্লট কেনার সুযোগ। তাই দেরি না করে আজই চলে আসুন পুরনো বন্ধুত্বের নতুন ঠিকানা। প্লট রেডি, আপনি রেডি তো?
পিরিয়ড যেন কোনো বাধা না হয়। ফ্রিডম স্যানিটারি ন্যাপকিন। ফ্রিডম মানে স্বাধীনতা।
Whereas India start off very confidently in that pursuit of 276. Already seen 4 bowlers. Here's an interesting one for you, Mark. Cameron Green, Marcus Stoinis. There's a chance if Australia want to play Hazelwood, Stark and Cummins together and then play Agar and Zampa, that you could only have place for one of them. Is Green more bowler than Stoinis?
Well, I would say that Green, say you're talking red ball cricket, test match cricket, Green would be more chance of getting a 5 wickets than Marcus Stoinis. But in one-day cricket, sometimes it's more about change-ups, and the batsman's often going at you, so sometimes the change-ups are more effective. Yeah, it's a tricky one, that one. I think Green's a better bowler, out-and-out better bowler. And how's the balance of the team? Like, Cameron Green could actually open the batting. We've seen it in T20 cricket, so he's an option there. But I think it's a good situation to be in, where you've got a lot of depth in certain areas of your team, and a lot of all-rounders Australia. But it's just going to depend on the balance, how many out-and-out quick bowlers you play, how many spinners you want to play.
Abbott's previous over was a maiden over. So far, 3 singles.
Shubman Gill has another trait which is something that I've seen in exceptional batters. The trigger movement of his feet before the ball is delivered, and he can go from big back foot trigger movement to no movement and get onto the front foot. So when Stoinis was bowling to him, he was very keen to get onto the front foot, so there was no back foot trigger movement. And any batter was able to do that. Just find them destined for exceptional things. Tendulkar could do it, Virat Kohli is another guy who can manage that back foot trigger movement to young batters. Very pleasing to watch. 2 right-handers, and they haven't bothered with a left-hand right-hand combination. Ishan Kishan was an option. They wanted him in the middle, which means we've seen 2 right-handers, very copybook in a way, classical batters, getting India to a good start.
Nice. Very nice, because there wasn't a lot of space between the 2 fielders on the offside, and he found the gap quite surgically.
Yeah, great shot. And just watching those highlights, I've just noticed how cleanly both batsmen have hit the ball. They've actually hit a lot of balls to the fieldsmen as well, so that could be a lot further advanced the Indian score. Australia fielded pretty well, but just the timing on that. This new ball is really flying off the bat. Australia's real chance to peg their run rate back is going to be when this ball gets a bit softer, and it might be as easy to hit those boundaries.
And another one, this time off the back foot. Take your pick. Front foot or back. 66 for no loss.
তাই প্রতিদিনের লড়াইয়ে আমার আস্থা স্যাভলন সোপের দ্বিগুণ শক্তি দ্বিগুণ সুরক্ষায় স্কিন ময়েশ্চারাইজিং পাওয়ার সমৃদ্ধ নতুন স্যাভলন সোপ জীবাণুর পাশাপাশি রুক্ষতা থেকেও দেয় সুরক্ষা।
Introducing সাজানো ঝালের জ্বালাময়ী অথেন্টিক স্বাদে ডুডলস কোরিয়ান রামেন কঠিন ঝাল। Speed.
Australia, they can have 2 fielders outside the circle, yes.
Well,
What do you want to say, Mark Walk?
Well, Murali thinks you're a tad shorter than Gaikwad. Is he a bit taller than you?
Yeah, he might be a half an inch taller than me. Okay, let's focus on the more important matters. Cameron Green. They've got rid of the slip. Shubman Gill on strike. And you see here with Cameron Green, that big back foot trigger movement even before the ball is delivered. That's something that he controls. And I find that really fascinating. There's something special about it.
Yeah, just adapting to the situation. I think as a whole so far, Australia bowled, I reckon, a metre too short. They're just being back too much, whereas someone like Shami was just, I'd say, a metre fuller. He was sort of testing that length where you actually caught it on the crease rather than back and punching. That's a better length there. Maybe a fraction full, but that's at least it's challenging the batsman. If you're just back of a length on this pitch, there's just nothing there. There's the 2 boundaries in the previous over. That length there is just, good players are going to put that away every day of the week.
Also, Mark, one thing which they've also done very differently is the Indian bowlers were quite on the stumps. You look at all the boundaries which have gone, they've all been wide and, as you said, a fraction too short.
Different conditions too. I think that makes a huge difference. That ball wasn't too wide outside the off. He's hit that on the up. And I've seen this play out every time at Mohali, and that's why the record that we have here in Mohali, it's only 320, a score that has been defended by a team batting first. Anything less than that has been chased down. You can see in the way how they're hitting the ball on the up. There's no surprise element anymore for the seam bowlers, like a Shami getting that ball to jag back.
I don't mind that delivery with 2 men out. A really good short ball. I don't mind that. If the batsman's going to hook that for 4, well done to them. But there's a chance you might get a top edge or maybe a drag on a bottom edge. So the bouncer, the out-and-out bouncer's worth a go every now and then.
Is it time for Adam Zampa to have a go?
Well, they need the breakthrough, Australia, so he won't be far away. In fact, I'd probably say you wouldn't give Abbott another over after the last one. I'd say Zampa may get the next one.
And earlier the better for the wrist spinner, because as the ball goes into the outfield later, it will just become a little more difficult for the spinner to get that turn that we saw in the first half. Jadeja as a finger spinner could get the ball to turn, so we'll keep an eye on Zampa. What kind of help he gets under lights on the surface. He's gone for the pull shot. Happy with one. 68 for no loss India.
Let's one next month. Pump it up. Let's one next month. Play your drum. Let's one next month. Yes, it's right. We are gonna win tonight. Let's one next month. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Let's one next month. Whoa, whoa, whoa. We are gonna win tonight.
যে ছাত্র চলে এত কিছু অবিরাম ঘটে ঘটনা মজবুতি না হলে এত স্মৃতি জমে না দেশের প্রতিটি ছাদের গল্পে জড়িয়ে আছি আমরা নির্মাণের অলরাউন্ডার
পিরিয়ড যেন কোনো বাধা না হয় ফ্রিডম স্যানিটারি ন্যাপকিন ফ্রিডম মানে স্বাধীনতা
This can be a serious game changer. Adam Zampa in the middle overs, prone to getting wickets for Australia. There's a lot of wrist spinners doing the middle stages. It's going to be a bowling change. It's not going to be him at the moment, but Matt Short introduced to the attack.
Yeah, big tall off spinner. Does a good job, especially in T20 cricket where the batsmen are going quite hard. It'd be interesting to see how he handles this format where batsmen can just knock you around and wait for the bad ball. But he'll bowl round the wicket and he'll mainly slide the ball across to the right hander. He won't get a lot of turn, I don't think.
Got his cap this afternoon in very hot conditions. And he's going to have his first bowl in 50 overs cricket. Interesting this move because you don't see captains getting an off spinner so early unless there's one left-hander out there batting. Got two right-handers. Got a start. Quite happy to introduce off spin at this stage.
Oh, nice shorty. Nice start. Shorty. Thank you, lads. Oh, lovely Matt. Very good, Shorty.
But that's a very good start. Ruturaj Gaikwad might be looking to go inside out over those two fielders in the ring on the offside. Likes to go aerial.
Down. Run him out, Smudge.
Well, they wouldn't have seen much of Matt Short. So you know what it's like when you're a batsman, you haven't seen a bowler before. It just takes you a little while to pick up angles and delivery stride and when they let the ball go. So they might just be a little cautious early on against Matt Short.
Always a proud moment for anyone from any part of the world to represent your country. Getting the cap from Alex Carey, not playing today. And then the handshakes all around. 2 runs coming out of that over. 70 for that loss.
Belame, belame.
ভালো মনের একটি দলে ওড়ে চলে বেলামের সেরা মানের উপাদানে বেলামে বেলামে বেলামে
মন ভরা স্বাদে গড়া বেলামে।
New Cemetery, excellence in quality.
স্পিড।
Surya Kumar Yadav, at least in the original batting order that we got, he's batting at, I think, after K. Rahul at 5. That's a good number. Down the order. If you get a chance, if you want to have that left-hand, right-hand combination. He wants to. Shubman Gill. That's the other thing to like about him. Can deal in boundaries, but very keen on the running, I guess. Something that Virat Kohli has passed on as a baton.
That's great awareness. Right from the get-go, he called two and he just weighted that perfectly. Something the Australians didn't do well enough, I don't think. They were hitting it too hard out to the man out there, and he's just got it right there, right in between the fielder in the rope and the fielder in the circle.
Slow ball, and that's a fantastic shot. The fact that it was a slow ball and how quickly it went off the bat. Batting like a dream, really.
Yeah, it was a slow ball. You saw a little puff of dust, but it didn't grip like we saw earlier in the day when Shammy got a few to grip. He just got a little bounce there. A bad bounce, Pat Cummins. He had it lined up and it just hopped over his outstretched arm. But beautifully timed again from Shubman Gill.
He was actually very upset that he didn't pick the gap. It's straight to the fielder. Yeah, threw everything at it. Something that we see so often in T20 cricket, white ball cricket. Caution to the wind. Pick up 4.
Yeah, such a good delivery. Tall bowler, pulls the heavy ball, gave it everything. Effort delivery. Slightly late on it, went for it. Ruturaj Gaikwad lucky. He had no idea where the ball was. He got a top edge flying over the wicketkeeper. Sometimes as a bowler you're wondering, did everything right and it didn't go in my favour.
I just wonder whether it might have brushed the helmet off the top edge. The protocols are when that happens, you think you've got to test out the concussion, ask him what his name is, where he is, what country he's from, all those sort of trick questions.
Hey, you can see that ball mark to the side of that helmet, that white spot. And you still have to ask those customary questions.
It's more of a glancing blow, wasn't it? The top edge flicking the top of the helmet. It's a good quick bounce to that, right at the badge too. Look at that. It's the exact spot you want it.
A bit of top edge and then onto the helmet. So maybe the blow wasn't that severe. That's why Gaikwad is looking a lot relaxed out there. But the process has to be adhered to. That's Prasidh Krishna. We've got one game in the Asia Cup. So after winning the Asia Cup in grand style, we've got 3 top-class teams. Rather 3 top-class games against 2 top-ranked teams. The IDFC First Bank Trophy for the one-day series. India versus Australia. First game here in Mohali, second in Rajkot. Indore and the third one in Rajkot. Has he found the gap this time? No. Picks up the fielder again.
You're just talking about rankings. If India win this series, they go to number 1 leading to the World Cup. And if Australia win this 3-0, they go to number 1. and India will be #1 in all 3 formats, which is that's a good achievement.
Also think if Australia win at 2-1, they jump to number 2.
Just at the right time. 2 guys in yellow shirts.
Got an uncanny knack of just timing their walk at the.
Not part of your
Perfect.
camp, right?
I don't think so. No, I don't think they're Aussies. One had a blue turban on.
It just got carried away with the yellow shirts. Even the defensive shot is travelling off the bat. 13 overs gone, 82 for no wicket India.
জীবাণু দ্বিগুণ রুক্ষতা জানো ভেসে আছে দ্বিগুণ সুরক্ষা তাই প্রতিদিনের লড়াইয়ে আমার আস্থা স্যাভলন সোপের দ্বিগুণ শক্তি দ্বিগুণ সুরক্ষায় স্কিন ময়েশ্চারাইজিং পাওয়ার সমৃদ্ধ নতুন স্যাভলন সোপ জীবাণুর পাশাপাশি রুক্ষতা থেকেও দেয় সুরক্ষা স্যাভলন